Hey everyone, it's Kelly. Thanks so much for joining me. I am back today for Altenew's June 2019 standalone die new release blog hop. As I've mentioned in my past few videos, if you happen to be watching this video on YouTube, I will post a link in the description box below. So that way you can head over to my blog and hop along on the blog hop to see all of the projects that all of the designers have created with this new release. You'll also want to make sure that you head to my blog because Altenew is offering some great prizes in the blog hop, and all the details can be found in my blog post. So as I mentioned, I'll post that link in the description box below. So when the video is over, just hop on over and check it out. So for my layout today, I am starting with the color wheel die, and I have cut it 3 times just on some scrap cardstock, and I'm going to use it as a stencil on my layout. So I've actually positioned those 3 dies just across the center of that white cardstock background, and now I'm using some different spray mists from my stash to add some color onto that white cardstock. So I knew when I started this layout that I had a particular color scheme that I wanted, and it was going to be mainly pinks, yellows, and oranges. So I just grabbed all of those mists that I had in my stash. So I'm using a wide variety of manufacturers. I have some shimmers, I have some dilutions, I have some Heidi Swapp, and I actually also have some October afternoon mists, and I have had those forever. I wasn't even sure if the nozzles would still work, but they worked great. The one that you saw me struggling with there, that was actually from a shimmers, and I think that there may be something clogged in the nozzle, so I need to try to clean that out a little bit. But as you can see, when I pulled away those dies, it left that really neat design on the background, and I really like that interest that it adds to the white cardstock. There I was showing you another one of the new release dies. That is the Virginia Rose 3D die set. And you get a couple of really nice large blooms, and then you also get some smaller blooms and some leaves. So what I did is I cut down some cardstock, just some scrap cardstock that I had in my stash, and I cut it to fit my Big Shot. So I think the normal Big Shot is about a 5x7. I could be wrong on that, but I cut down the cardstock to roughly fit my cutting mat. And then I took all of the dies except for the leaf dies. I was just working on the flowers at this point. I took all of the pinks and yellows and oranges, and I positioned all of those flower dies onto one of the pieces of cardstock and ran it through. So it was almost like an assembly style. I wasn't really sure how I was going to layer the flowers, so I just cut every die from every piece of cardstock that I had and then put them into piles and then just started assembling them. And I'm not really sure if there's a right or wrong way to do this, if you're supposed to start with the lightest color as the base and then build up, or vice versa. But I really am happy with how these turned out. I feel like there's a lot of texture with these flowers, and I love that. And there's just a lot of detail, and they were just really fun to put together. I didn't put any of them together on camera because I actually cut them all and then assembled them as I was watching TV. And it was just one of those, I don't know if mindless tasks is really the right way to put that, but kind of like fussy cutting. You know, you can just sit and you can do it, and you can kind of multitask. I watched one of our favorite shows as I was assembling these and just had a lot of fun putting them together. So now I brought in my photo, and that is a photo of my 2 dogs. If you're familiar with my channel, then you know that I scrapbook about my pets quite a bit. And we actually had 3 dogs at one point, and we had originally, let me backtrack. So originally when my husband and I got married, we got 3 Shih Tzus, and they lived to be about 12 and 13 years old, and they passed away. And when 2 of them passed away very suddenly and very close together, we went to the shelter and we adopted these 2 big dogs. So at one point we had these 2 big dogs, and then we also had our Shih Tzu. And we started referring to the big dogs as the bigs, or our bigs, or my bigs. And we did that so that way if the dogs needed to go outside, we could kind of specify to each other which dogs we were referring to. So that is where my title is coming from on this layout. So I'm just titling it My Bigs. I may go back in and add some journaling later, but I scrapbook so often about the dogs that I'm not really worried about making sure the story gets told on this layout, because I'm sure at some point it will get told. This layout was just more about the art side of it for me, with the different mists and then the flowers, and I just really enjoyed putting those flowers together. It was just so much fun not to put a lot of thought into it, just to have those big piles of the die cuts and then just start adhering them together. and really not being concerned about which color was on the bottom and which color was going to end up on the top. It was just so much fun. So if you've never tried the 3D dies, the floral dies, I would highly recommend that you try them. They just add so much interest to a layout. The texture, it's hard to even capture through camera on how much texture they add, and just I love the pops of color. They're just so much fun. And I forgot to mention, but those alphas are from Altenew also. Those are from the original scrapbook collection that they had released. It's called Reflection. And here are the still shots. There you can see the flowers in a little bit more detail. You can see all of that texture, and it's just so much fun. So I do, again, want to encourage you to head back to my blog so that way you can hop along and check out all of the different projects and also get entered in the giveaways. I will be back again soon with a new layout and process video. And as always, thank you so much for watching.